Hello, my name is Sammy and welcome to Matt Chats. So I wanted to kick off this series talking about the idea of somatics. I'm interested in defining somatics and talking about what it means to me, as well as what it means to other practitioners and how people can come to the practice in different ways from different theories. So I think that people in general are getting more into this idea of embodiment and body-based approaches to health and healing. So the word somatics has kind of come into our vernacular a bit more, and a lot of people are using the term. And I think there's also at the same time a lot of misconceptions or just a lack of clarity around what it means. And that's in part because it has a lot of different definitions, and it kind of depends on who you're talking to, what they will say. One of my favorite definitions of somatics comes from Adrienne Marie Brown in her book Pleasure Activism, and she defines it as follows.
Somatics is a path, a methodology, a change theory by which we can embody transformation individually and collectively. Embodied transformation is foundational change that shows in our actions, ways of being, relating, and perceiving. It is transformation that sustains over time. Somatics supports our values and actions becoming aligned. It helps us develop depth and the capacity to feel ourselves, each other, and the life around us.
So this definition is really inspiring to me. I specifically love those last two sentences where she says somatics supports our values and actions becoming aligned. It helps us develop depth and the capacity to feel ourselves, each other, and the life around us. I think that this really sums up my personal why of why I practice and share somatic practices. When we develop the capacity to feel ourselves, it just opens up a lot more possibility for our lives. Brené Brown talks about this. She says that we can't selectively numb emotions. So when we numb things like grief, we're also numbing things like joy and love. I think that somatics offers this potent way for us to start to come into the body and feel our emotions on a visceral level. We can get to know them better and learn to tolerate our sensations, because as we get to know them, perhaps they get a little less scary and we learn how to deal with them compassionately and completely. It's really about gut feelings, it's about sensation, it's about learning, trusting, and becoming aligned with these sources of information in addition to our thoughts, and acknowledging in that process our wholeness. We live in a society that puts so much emphasis and hierarchy on the thinking mind, and so the information from the body, it's almost seen as this like lower, less developed sense of information or intelligence. But somatics kind of flips that on its head and challenges that notion and tells us like, no, like you can trust your intuition, your gut feelings, these sensations that are bubbling up from within. That's a potent and true source of information. Also, just this acknowledgement that the body and the mind are essentially one and the same. Yes, the brain is its own structure and it's a part of the body, and we also have neurons in our stomachs and our hearts. So the body itself has sentience and has intelligence. And the body and mind are really kind of this interwoven structure and organism, and it's kind of hard to separate them when you really get down to it. So let's shift gears a little bit from these more philosophical ideas into some practical applications of somatics that you'll see in different ways. There are a lot of psychotherapists that work with somatics, and there's this branch of psychotherapy called somatic psychotherapy. And here you'll see things like somatic experiencing and other body-based approaches to psychotherapy. And then we have other movement and body-based approaches to therapy like yoga therapy and dance movement therapy. And these can be considered somatic therapies as well, since they really rely on and utilize information from the body like movement, sensation, evaluating and analyzing posture and things like that. And then we have this whole kind of umbrella of somatic movement. Somatic movement really encourages us to acknowledge sensation, right? Developing our proprioception, or our awareness of internal sensations. Also our awareness of our body and space, which I think is interoception. Somatic movement also focuses on the relationship between different parts or areas of the body and how they move in relation to each other. The way I came to somatics was actually through my modern dance training. I was learning things like Laban movement analysis and Bartini fundamentals, and these are ways of utilizing somatics to help dancers move more efficiently and understand choreography in a different way. It was really helpful to me as a dancer. I started dance a bit late, so sometimes it was challenging for me to pick up things at the same pace as other dancers. But having this vocabulary was really empowering for me in the early stages of my dance journey. And I find this intersection really interesting too, of these therapeutic approaches that can be used in a rehabilitative way, but at the same time, these same approaches can be used to help artists kind of develop their craft. I just find that intersection really rich and interesting, and it's something I try to tap into in my teaching a lot as well. So I'll just say one more thing. Somatics, I think, is a potent way for us to begin to connect to the rhythms and pace of nature. When we connect to our bodies, we sense a lot of things that are also present in the natural world. This ebb and flow, this expansion and contraction, constant motion. Somatics is a way into a deeper understanding of our own intrinsic nature. And with that, I think it allows a way out of these kind of unsustainable rhythms and paces that we get sucked into in our day-to-day lives, right? We live in a world that moves so fast. Sometimes it's really hard to just like drop back, connect to the present moment, and sink into the pace of the natural world. I think somatics offers us a way to do that, and that's a big part of why it can be so healing for people. So I think I'll end there. Thank you so much for tuning into this video. Let me know in the comments what stood out to you from this conversation, and please subscribe for more videos like this and movement practices that weave together Pilates, yoga, and contemporary dance. Links are below to check out my offerings on my website, to join the newsletter and connect on social media. So make sure you do those things if you're interested, and I'll see you in the next video.